Hello everyone, my name is Anibal Barron and I'm here for the International Business Management Specialization to present to you my final project, in which I'm going to talk about the NBC's case for the 2012 Olympic Games. So let's talk about a little bit of history before the Olympic Games. There were like a prospect of failure. Why? Throughout the history of the NBCs in the Olympic Games, they have had a lot of bad times. From the Barcelona's 1992 Olympic Games when they had a loss of $100 million, all the way to the 2012 Winter Games in Vancouver when they had a loss of around $223 million. Because of this, the NBC didn't have like a good prospect towards the 2012 Olympic Games. However, this turned to be a complete different history, and this is what I'm going to talk to you about today. So let's start with the politics and policies. In order to get the rights to transmit the Olympic Games, you first have to deal with the International Olympic Committee. This is the organization that gives the broadcasting networks the rights to transmit the Olympic Games in a certain country. This means the 5,600 hours of footage as well as the 1,300 personnel for the transmissions, which are sold to around 200 countries. So everything started when the NBCs from the United States offered $1.18 billion to get the rights for the transmission, which was like an exuberant quantity because other big network companies didn't offer like even close to that. For example, the BBC from the UK offered 92 million for the rights to transmit the Olympic Games on the UK. So the other countries were just going lower and lower. It was a huge difference. So everything started with when this news got to the social media and the internet, and they started to make like a projection of the NBC as a total failure. For example, the New York Times had their bets that the NBC wasn't not even gonna get the revenues that they had on the Beijing Olympic Games, like no way. And also on Twitter, there was even a trending topic, a hashtag that said NBC fail before the Olympic Games. But I think that the NBC had a complete different view about it, and that's why they paid that much money. For example, one of the things that happened before the Olympic Games was the 46th Super Bowl, in which they broke records, not only on viewers, because it was the most watched event in history until that day, and also in the TV commercials and the TV spots, in where they charged around even $4 million per 30 seconds TV spots. So they had like a very good history behind the 2012 in that same year. And that's exactly what happened, one of the things that helped a lot. Another part was played, of course, by the tertiary sector of economy, because all of the brands of the retail stores, of the restaurant sector, of the transportation and sales were going to want partnerships with the NBC to get commercial TV spots and advertisements, mentions throughout the transmission of the Olympic Games, of course. And this is one of the things that got the most revenue for the NBC. The clusters and the economies. This means all of the companies that were around the NBC's main headquarters and that they make partnerships with for the Olympic Games, which they were centered mostly in the East Coast, of course. One of the biggest ones were Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola paid a lot of money for the partnership with the NBC for the Olympic Games in an attempt to get that battle that they have with Pepsi, with Powerade and Gatorade, of course. There were some other big companies that had partnerships with them, such as McDonald's, Visa, P&G, Adidas, and some that were not even American, like BMW. And another big part of it was played by the social media. The partnerships that the NBC made with the social media, I think, were the most important ones, because differently from the other events from the past, like the Beijing Olympic Games, now the social media was playing a crucial part. And the broadcasting of the Olympic Games, being both online and on TV, was going to be a huge deal. So they made partnerships with both Facebook and Twitter. In Facebook, there was this tool called the Talk Meter, in which people got in this live chat in which they could talk about the events of the Olympic Games. And that, of course, got them a lot of more viewers on the TV and on the online broadcasting. And one thing that I think was maybe the most important thing that they did on the social media was a partnership with Twitter to advertise tweets and hashtags from the athletes of the USA. You can easily notice this because the most watched athletes throughout the whole games were Gabby Douglas and Michael Phelps. On August 2nd of 2012, when both of these athletes had their presentations, they had an average viewers of 36.8 million viewers in that day. Only on that day, 36 million viewers, because Gabby Douglas and Michael Phelps were presenting themselves. They were, doing their thing on the Olympic Games. And a big part of this was because on Twitter, they were tweeting about what they were going to do, and people got all hyped up, and this got them that much viewers. So at the end of this, the NBC turned around what was projected to be a failure to be a huge success. Along the 17 days of broadcasting that the NBC did for the Olympic Games, they had a total of 219 million viewers. This means an average of 31.1 million viewers per day. And this all they transformed it in a revenue of around $1.25 billion of revenue in what we know until today as the most watched event in history of television. So there you got it. The NBC turned around what it was supposed to be a failure to the most watched event on TV history. And that's my explanation for it. My name is Anibal Barron for the International Business Management specialization of the Universidad Tecmilenio, and thank you for watching.